Mark Zuckerberg has built a personal fortune of over $54 billion with Facebook. You can use what Mark built to create your own fortune. Okay, maybe not billions, but certainly millions of dollars if you know how to use Facebook as a lead generator and sales maker. That's what Nicholas Kusmich has focused on and perfected. It's also why he's called one of the world's leading Facebook advertising strategists. As business owners and entrepreneurs, we all look at our return on investment. So what's a good ROI? 100%, 200%, 1,000%? Nicholas has the highest ROI in the industry, and get this, it's 30,933%. Nicholas's title is 50-Year-Old Abs and the Salvation Army Chaplain. How you can become a leading authority in today's social media world. Please welcome Nicholas Kusmich. Awesome, brother. Thank you. Thank you.
I will never forget January 5th, 2005. At this point, Dad had renal kidney failure, which meant that he had to go to the hospital 3 times a week, 4 hours each time, to be strapped to a dialysis machine just to stay alive. Our routine was the same. We'd wake up, have breakfast. I'd take Dad to the hospital. He'd go on the machines. 4 hours later, I'd take him home. Dad would go into his bedroom and take a nap because he was exhausted. And then I would go into the adjacent room, which was my office, where I'd sit down at my IKEA corner desk, birch, black legs. How many people have owned an IKEA desk before? Everyone. It's like when you have an ailing parent, you have this little bit of a sixth sense about when something is not right. So here I am working and doing my thing, and out of the corner of my ear, I hear this slightest of... So I get out of my desk, I smash my knees against it, I go over to the other room, Dad! To which there was no response. Dad! And that's when I realized something was wrong. So I did what we're all taught to do when something goes wrong. You pick up the phone and you dial 3 numbers. 911. What felt like hours must have only been just a few minutes. The paramedics came, they ran some tests, they kind of feeled him out, and they said, we got to go to the hospital. They take Dad, they throw him in the ambulance, and they're off. I'm following suit in my car, breaking every traffic violation known to man. I finally get to the hospital, and as I'm there, Dad is not even triaged yet. They left him on the stretcher in the fucking hallway. So I throw up a fit. Finally, they get Dad into the room. They run some tests, and they pull me and Mom aside, and they said, son, your father's had a stroke, a really bad one. And then they ask me a question that no child should ever have to answer about their father. If he gets out of this, he will be a vegetable and on life support. If that's the case, do you want us to pull the plug or keep him alive? And so that day I was left with a decision. Speaking of decisions, you as an entrepreneur in this room, living in this Web 2.0 social media driven world, have a decision to make. A decision to keep doing marketing like you've always done, or to adapt to the new landscape of how to reach your customers and your clients in a far more effective way. I've been fortunate enough now to be the guy behind some of those profit-driven and our highest ROI campaigns in all of Facebook history. And in doing that, I've come to learn that at the end of the day, there's only 2 things that matter. How many things? Number 1, your content, or in other words, your communication, but more specifically, how does that stand out above the noise from everybody else? And then number 2, distribution. How many of the right eyes and ears are seeing and hearing that message? So today I want to show you how you can master those 2 things by looking at 2 simple principles. Number 1, a 50-year-old guy with abs, and number 2, a Salvation Army chaplain. David Ogilvy said that you can enter into a marketplace based on one of 3 levels. The first, he says, is the promise. And he says essentially this, that is your promise to the marketplace. It's, hey, I will help you lose weight. Hey, I will help you gain weight. Hey, I will help you fill in the blank. And he says the problem with that is that this is the most crowded red ocean that you can try to enter into. If you enter into your marketplace on the level of the promise, you are competing in a red ocean. But he said the second way that you can enter is through your position. And this is where you realize that what you say is actually less important than who you are inside your industry. And then lastly, he calls it the big idea, but I want to borrow a J. Abraham term and call this your preeminent idea. This is where you throw something into the marketplace that they can grab onto that stands you apart from everybody else. Let me give you an example. Several years ago, a fitness company took the world by storm. The company, Beachbody. The product, P90X. Have you heard of them? Now, if they entered into the marketplace simply based on the promise, it might have sounded something like this. Hey, we're going to help you lose weight and get ripped. Now, would they have been the mega company that they were if they just stopped at that? Now, their positioning was a little bit different and interesting because at that time, the general sentiment of the weight loss industry was, hey, you can lose weight without messing with your diet too much. It was like the non-diet diet and the 3-minute workout. And they said, no. We are coming into this marketplace saying this is a workout for badasses. And essentially, you had a 50-year-old guy with abs doing horizontal pull-ups and saying, if you want to get ripped, you got to work out hard. And it was essentially their positioning was contrarian to the marketplace. But that in and of itself still didn't do it for them. What really set them apart was their preeminent idea. Two words that they made up, that they got the industry to buy into, that set things on fire for them. Does anyone know what the 2 words are? Muscle confusion. Now, what the fuck is muscle confusion? But their premise was this. The premise was this. It's, hey, your body's really smart and intelligent, and so you get muscle memory. And the only way you can break off that and keep your metabolism burning is if you do a different workout every single day for 90 days, plyometrics, abs, this and that. Then you'll get ripped, and you'll look like him. And this was it. Seth Godin says it a little bit different. He calls it the purple cow. Tony Robbins openly admitted that when he started doing what he was doing, none of his content was all that original. It was borrowed by that from his mentors. But on the last day of one of his signature events, he took everybody outside, made them take off their shoes and their socks and walk across hot burning coals. Now, nothing special about that except for when that person went to work the next day and their colleague said, hey, what did you do yesterday? Or what did you do this weekend? Did they say, just went to another seminar? No. What did they say? I walked on fire. What is your fire walk? What is your muscle confusion? What is your purple cow? For when you have that and you lead with that in your communication, things start to change. So I'm there in the room, and the doctors say, what do you want to do? If dad passes, what are you going to do? And I'm left with this decision, and I don't know what to do, and I'm thinking, and I'm trying to figure this all out. And then a nurse comes running into the room, and as she runs into the room, she says, if you want to say goodbye to dad, now would be the time to do it. He is making this decision for you. So I start running down the corridor, right to the last room on the left. And as I get into that room, I see his heart rate monitor slowing down. Beep. Beep. I put my face beside his ears and I said, Dad, I love you and I'm sorry. Did you live? Did you love? And no, I know. That's somebody else's story. I said, Dad, I am sorry. I will make you proud. And just as I was doing that, I could hear out of the corner of my ear the one last beep, beep, flatlined. I took a few steps back and I crumbled to my knees and I started crying to the heavens, why? And a Salvation Army chaplain walks in and embraces me. And he lets me weep on his shoulders until there was no more tears to cry. And then he looked at me in the eyes and he said 5 of the most powerful words in the English language. Son, I know how you feel. How many people in this room have lost a loved one, more specifically a parent, to sickness or disease? Just for a second, would you honor me in just standing up and making eye contact with 2 or 3 other people who have lost someone, and without saying a word, just make eye contact. And then once you do, have a seat. Annie, I know how you feel. There's a solidarity, a camaraderie, a connectiveness that happens. And I believe that in the core of our DNA, in the core of humanity, is this desire to connect, to want to belong, to feel understood. And a good message is not when your ideal prospect understands you. A good message is when your ideal prospect feels understood by you. And the more you can create these kind of I know how you feel, you are not alone type experiences, the more you create connection. The more you create connection, the more you create resonance. And the more resonance you create, the more transactions you have. Because in today's Web 2.0 world, we buy based on how well we resonate with the person making that offer. Can you agree? So if you want to dominate the marketplace, if you want to be the trusted authority in your place, if you want your communications to stand out far above all else, just remember the 50-year-old dude with abs and the Salvation Army chaplain. And then to get distribution, you utilize the most powerful direct response advertising platform on the planet, Facebook ads, to find the right people and deliver the right message at the right time. And then you too will not soon be forgotten. Thank you.